Hey guys, today we're talking about how to enter a strong stock after the market open. When the market opens, momentum in a news-driven stock can explode up or down depending on the news and whether it's good or bad. But you don't have to be in that first move, which is a lot riskier than what we're going over today. A lot of traders rush in during those first opening candles thinking that they're catching a trend, but often they're just fueling a momentum pop or a whoosh lower. And the twist is that first opening move isn't the actual trade, but it's the setup for the real trade that's coming next. It's what I call the reset entry. The reset entry is how you catch strong trends without chasing. It's a setup where you let the initial move play out, then enter on the first controlled pause before the continuation. The problem is that most traders enter too early and then get stopped out. And then they miss what becomes the cleanest trade of the morning and possibly the entire day for a stock that's experiencing momentum. I'm going to start by identifying the first strong move after the open. I'm looking for clean candles, strong directional movement, and limited overlap in those candles, which shows me there's conviction in the move. And I'll show you an example in just a second. Here's the catch. That first move may look like it's going to the moon or getting smashed, but that's just bait for early traders who are in too soon. After that first strong move is when you employ patience and wait for that reset. I'm looking for a pullback to a key level on the stock. Could be VWAP, could be the 20, but something that shows the stock is taking a breath. But I need pullback to the important level, and then I need a setup. So one, I need that pullback. Two, I need a setup for confirmation. Because without the setup, you're basically guessing that it's going to hold at the level and then continue either higher or lower. So the entry and the trigger don't come until I see the actual setup playing out, and then I see a trigger off that setup. That trigger can be various things. It could be a power bar. It could be a hairpin turn. It could be a hammer. It could be a hanging man. A lot of different setups could happen. And this video isn't going to go over like what each of those setups are, but I'll try to put together something that's more of a list of those setups that could occur at that key level and include that in the description later. The issue is that most traders don't pick up on the key setup that forms at the key level. And they end up trading in the noise of the move, either up or down at the beginning of the day. So let's use Opendoor, OPEN, as an example. Opendoor had positive commentary the past several days. So this is a continuation of a pattern higher. It was compared by an investor, a well-known investor, to Carvana, which 100x'd after it looked like Carvana was going to go into bankruptcy, and Opendoor was tossed out there as having the ability to 100x. So you've got a lot of positive momentum around the stock. On this chart, I have the 20 period simple moving average. I have VWAP, which is in white. And then I have two standard deviations away from VWAP. That's the only thing I have on the chart. It is a 2-minute chart. I know I've confused some of you guys with the time frame on the chart. So it's a 2-minute chart, again, for Opendoor Technologies. You can see the nice, strong move higher off the 930 open. And then you see that pullback to the key level. And in this case, it's both the 20 period moving average and to VWAP. So see how they're both converging here. Again, the red line's the 20, the white is VWAP. And look at what sets up here. There are a couple of things. First, you get a base that sets up between these two levels, right? You get a bottoming tail on this slight pullback. You get a couple of bottoming tails. You get a base that sets up, and then you have a double bottom as well. So it's not just one setup. Ideally, you have more than one. In this case, you have sort of 3 different indicators. You also have a hairpin turn here. It's kind of iffy because it's not a large candle for the hairpin turn. I like to see a larger candle for that. But you do have sort of a green taking out red here. And then here and here, you get your double bottom. So you've got a base after a slight pullback. You don't want to see a big pullback, but a slight pullback. You got the base set up. The base sets up at the 20. It sets up at VWAP. You've got a double bottom occurring. You've got a kind of a hairpin turn occurring where you've got green taking out red. And then the trigger for the setup is this power bar and the fact that it breaks out of the base and it occurs at the 20. So you've got a really nice setup here, and your buy point then becomes above the power bar. Entry is here, and your stop is the power bar, the bottom of the power bar here. So you've got a well-defined entry, you've got a well-defined stop, and you're looking at about 20 cents. Levels like the 20 and VWAP act like magnets for price, like the 20 and VWAP here on this chart. But if the pullback goes through those levels, which it can easily do, then you're not trading a structured pattern. You're just trading a point on the chart without a structure to back it up. I always wait for location and then setup in order to initiate the trade. And that gives you a clearly defined entry, and it gives you a clearly defined stop. That stop is just on the other side of the setup. And that way you're not trading emotionally, right? You're trading with a well-defined risk parameter in place. A target on a trade like this, you can use something simple like a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. You can use, if you have VWAP and the 2 standard deviations, you can use the second standard deviation as a target, which doesn't mean I'm going to exit when it reaches 2 standard deviations, but maybe move the stop closer at that point, put in a trailing stop. Open proceeded to move up about 5R from this 20 cents of risk here. You could use the 20 as a stop, which it never got to the 20 on these pullbacks, which is showing you again a strong stock, right? It's staying just above the 20. But when you get a reversal pattern, a strong reversal pattern like this is a clear hairpin turn. It's taking place at 2 standard deviations. For me, this is when I'm going to tighten up a stop and not have the stock move below this reversal pattern. The reset entry, again, is going to work best where you have a trending market that is helping speculative plays. You have a nice gap higher, and then you have continued momentum after that gap higher. That's when you get the opportunity to get in on a reset entry. We have earnings season coming up. One of the ways to play this is on earnings, right? So earnings count as news, good news or bad news. So if you get a good earnings report and get a gap on that, this is the kind of play you want to look for. But if the market starts getting sloppy in earnings season, say that earnings from the big names aren't going as well, and we start getting a market that's pulling back in earnings season, these plays aren't going to work as well because you don't have that momentum behind them. So there's a context, right? The overall large context in any play like this, as well as the play itself. You really only need like one of these reset entries a day to build consistency instead of taking sort of 5 random trades that aren't structured, but you're just guessing at where the stock is going to go. The important piece of this is that the discipline imposed by using a structure like this is going to beat guessing at where the market or your stock is going and trying to be active all day long and figuring that out. This kind of play can be very powerful and very profitable near the beginning of the day. When you hear about traders being, done by 11, this is a kind of setup that they're looking for. A reset entry, the power bar entry that I went over in a previous video. Those are the kinds of things that you're looking for. And then you shut down the computer and you're done for the afternoon. I hope this video helped you in your trading. I have a couple more examples of a reset entry that I want to do a video on that show you how this works, even when you don't have news that's breaking that day on the stock, but it's just another like continuation pattern. Again, the news on Opendoor broke several days ago, right? This news came out several days ago. There are other stocks in this market right now, especially around crypto and the AI theme, that don't necessarily have to have news every day, but they're still following this pattern because the momentum in those names is so strong at this point. So I hope this pattern helped you out. Again, please hit like and subscribe, and I'll keep making videos like this. And thanks again for watching.